Today on Fulton Cold Case, we take a look at a case from College Park that still has police and family members baffled. It's the murder of Nathan Bernard Rumph from 2003. We'll also tell you how you can help our partners at Crime Stoppers and in the process earn some cash. I'm Kenya Johnson. Join us for this edition of Fulton Cold Case after the break. Stay with us. Welcome to this edition of Fulton Cold Case. I'm Kenya Johnson. In March 2003, a College Park man was shot in a hotel and left for dead. Now, over 13 years later, family members of Nathan Bernard Rumph are asking again for the public's help to find his murderer. Lieutenant Gerald Reiser is the head of the Criminal Investigations Division for the College Park Police Department. Lieutenant, welcome to Fulton Cold Case.
Thank you.
You remember this case well because, as I believe, you were a detective back in 2003 in College Park. So take us back some 13 years and set the scene for us.
Yes, on March 26, 2003, College Park police units were dispatched to a call of shots fired at the Red Roof Inn. That's located at 2471 Old National Parkway. Upon arrival, they found a male on the sidewalk bleeding from gunshot wounds. Later turned out to be Mr. Rumph. He was transported to the hospital where he later succumbed to those wounds.
Lieutenant, now how did this call come in and who heard what?
The call was made through 911. Several people made 911 calls, as this is a busy hotel, so there were a couple of calls made.
Now, did this shooting occur in the morning or the evening? What time of day?
It was nighttime, almost like 2 in the morning.
So now, taking a look at the police report, it says that someone saw a black male running from the crime scene. How were you able to determine that fact? And were you ever able to determine who that was?
We have not been able to determine who that is as of yet. Eyewitness accounts said that there was a black male running, but we still have not identified this subject.
Lieutenant, would that person be a person of interest in
Most
this
definitely.
investigation?
Most definitely. That's someone we'd definitely like to talk to.
Now, there were actually two crime scenes, the hotel room and the car. Were you able to get any information from either of those scenes?
No, the sidewalk in front of the hotel room, before we were able to gather evidence from the hotel room, that scene was sanitized by the manager of the hotel. He cleaned it up pretty much.
Now, Lieutenant, how did that happen? How was an active crime scene destroyed, essentially?
He was given orders not to clean that area and to leave it secured. However, he decided to do otherwise, and that pretty much jeopardized our investigation.
So did anything ever happen to the manager of the hotel that ordered the room to be cleaned?
He was arrested for tampering with evidence.
Okay. Well, so now that you don't have any forensic evidence from the hotel room, how does that impact the investigation?
At this point, it's been 13 years, and we're hoping that people that were reluctant to talk at the time are really open to talking to us now. Someone knows what happened. Someone has that key piece of information that we'll need, and we're hoping that person will come forth after 13 years to give us that information.
Now, the victim didn't die immediately from his gunshot wounds. He actually died at the hospital, right?
This is correct.
Did anyone get a chance to speak with him before he was unconscious?
No, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Now, detectives canvassed the community soon after the shooting, yet no one claimed to have seen anything. Is that unusual?
That's not very unusual. In that area, it's very transient, and there's a street code. Most people in the area just will not talk to police. They believe in they call it no snitching, and they will not talk to police for whatever reason. It just hinders our investigations a whole lot.
Now, this no snitching code of the streets, is this something that has come about recently or it's been in effect for a while?
It's been in effect for a while. It's been popularized by some of the rappers, other people on TV, through T-shirts and things of that nature. And it's just, it's not really helpful to anyone.
So, Lieutenant, how do you all ever solve any crimes if no one will talk?
You stay with it. You stick with it. You continue to investigate, you continue to talk to people, and eventually someone will talk to you.
Now, how many years have you been a detective in College Park?
I have been a detective since 2005 in College Park.
So, with your years of experience, do you have any sense of what may have happened given that no one claims to know anything?
I believe the person responsible for this crime is someone from the neighborhood. I also believe it's someone that may know Mr. Rumph. It is also someone that's known in the community like Mr. Rumph was. And I think once people see how hurt the family is and see that it's time for this case to come to an end, someone will give us some good information.
Now, this crime occurred in 2003. Were there cameras on the scene that you could glean any help from or any information?
There were no cameras at this hotel at the time.
Now, it has been a long time. What are your thoughts about how cases can progress after they've gotten some age? We're talking 12 years now. Do the cases get easier to solve or even harder?
In a lot of cases, they get better because as people mature, as they grow, as they put themselves in the shoes of the family and the victim, they become a lot more sympathetic to the plight of the family, and they will talk with us. With the development of technology and just as things go on, people get a conscience, and they eventually will talk with us. It just takes a lot of time.
Now, as part of Fulton Cold Case, we ask the public to give us tips to help solve these crimes. What types of tips are you looking for in this case?
Any information is important. No tip is too small, no tip is too big. What may seem like is nothing to the public may mean everything to the police department. So any tip, any information, anything that anybody recalls seeing, please get in contact with us and give us that information.
Now, I've spoken with you about this investigation before. Tell our viewers, why has this particular case stayed with you after all these years?
Having been employed consistently with the College Park Police Department, I've gotten to see this family. They put on an event every year to keep the memory of this murder fresh in the minds of the community. I've spoken to the mother, I've spoken to the sister, and I know they're really hurting about this. And even at 13 years later, they're still hurting about this. It was one of the cases that I was involved with as a young detective, and I really like to see this brought to a successful end.
And speaking of Mr. Rumph's family, how have they kept this case a priority in College Park?
They stay in contact with us. They stay in contact with the streets. They still go out and solicit information, and they let us know when they get information. So it's definitely staying active in the family.
Well, Lieutenant Reiser, thank you so much for joining us today. Do you have any final thoughts for our viewers as we ask for information to solve this crime?
Just please remember, nothing's too small, nothing's too big. Please contact us with any information you may have.
Thank you so much for sharing this case with our viewers. We definitely hope to get some response and hopefully solve this case and get some relief for the family.
Thank you.
If you have any information on this case, contact the College Park Police Department, or of course you can call Crime Stoppers. When we come back, we'll talk with a family member of Nathan Rumph. Stay with us. Today on Fulton Cold Case, we've been talking about the 2003 murder of Nathan Bernard Rumph from College Park. While police have this homicide on their books all these years later, the family is pleading with the public for help so that they can finally get justice and peace. Candace Jenkins is the sister of Mr. Rumph. Thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Ms. Kenya.
Ms. Rumph, first, we want to express our condolences to your family for your loss, and we appreciate your being here.
We thank you for welcoming us.
So we've had a chance to hear from Lieutenant Reiser about the facts of the case, but we also want to hear about who Nathan was to the family. I think you all called him Nate Boy, right?
Yes.
Tell us about him.
Well, Nathan, also known as Nate Boy, was a very smart, loving, family-oriented guy. He's the father of 3 girls. He was a great father while he had the chance to be one. We grew up on different sides of the town in Atlanta. He basically, he was very driven. He was very a happy person, loving guy, like I said before. Every year on his birthday and the memorial of his death, we always try to celebrate his life and, just remember the good things about him. Um, we just ask that anyone that knows anything in regards to his murder, please come forth. Um,
Ms. Rumph, I understand that your family has celebrated his life in the following years after his death. Where was Nathan from and where did he go to school?
He was from Atlanta, Georgia. Went to school in Atlanta, Georgia. He's been to North Clayton High School and College Park as well. But he went to Hopper, I believe. I can't remember his high school.
Now, in the years following this tragedy, how has his loss impacted your family, and how do you feel knowing that the killer could still be out there?
Devastating. Every year, we try to stay strong for each other. Try to remember, like I said, the good things, but it's very hard on us. It weakens us every year that it's getting longer and longer, and we don't know anything or have any kind of leads. We hear things through the streets, street talk, but no one has come forth to say, I surrender, I know this, or I am the person. So,
Now, you mentioned the street talk, the things that you all have heard. Has your family developed a theory about what may have happened that led to Nathan's death?
we really have no clue. Being that we didn't talk to him none that day, we usually talk to Nathan daily, but that day was kind of busy. It was kind of dreary outside, and we just hadn't talked to him none that day, and so we don't have any clue. But what we were guessing is that he was involved with some female or some sort, not sure, and they were there at the hotel with Nathan, and maybe we're thinking maybe he was set up or some sort.
Now, I understand that your family has been very involved in this investigation and making sure that it's a priority to the College Park Police Department. What has your family done to get information to solve this case?
Um, Basically, I call all the time. I'm one of the main people that call the detectives and talk to them. I've asked his people that know him, prior classmates, prior family, anyone that lives or always stay on Old National. We try to ask them little questions just to see, do they have any leads? Have they heard anything? My cousin, his closest cousin, who always was with him, just wasn't with him that day, hear a lot of things. So whatever I hear from him, I try to let Detective Strozier, who was once detective over the case and now riser.
Now, detectives report that Nate Boy was very well liked and very popular on Old National Highway. What type of activities was he involved in, and what did he do?
Basically, Nathan was just he will always give back to the community. I'm not just for sure on everything he's done there on Old National. I was kind of young. I was a bit young. But I do know that he was liked and very much known on Old National. That's where his kids and kids' mother are from, so he was always there.
Now, how does it make you and your family feel to know that College Park Police are still pursuing Nathan's killer?
I am overly ecstatic about it because, sometimes you feel as if they've given up. They just think of it as another black guy, killed and less on the street. But that is not the case this time. Officer Riser assured me that he's going to stay on this. I thank him for getting this together. And they always let me know anything I need to know, very open to any questions. And I just appreciate them.
Well, this particular crime, as well as the relationship with your family, has definitely left an impression on College Park Police Department, and they wanted to highlight this case in hopes of getting some response. So I'm glad to hear that you are pleased with their interest in the case. Mm-hmm. What is your plea to the public from your family for any of our viewers that may have any information?
Just take a moment to think about what we could be going through, the pain, the suffering. I know you've had someone in your family that has been murdered or killed on the streets for an innocent situation. Just please, someone surrender, someone come forth. I know it's hard on you every night to even go to sleep. So please just come forth and let us know. We just want justice. We want closure in this case. And I just ask that if you know anything, any little piece of evidence, like Officer Riser said, it's not too big and it's not too small.
Ms. Jenkins, the College Park Police Department, as well as the Fulton County DA's office, will not stop. Ms. Jenkins, we hope that this program will prompt someone to call police so that your family can, in fact, finally get a conviction and, of course, some measure of closure. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. The Fulton County District Attorney's Office, along with a number of law enforcement agencies, partner to investigate and ultimately solve crimes in the community. And in almost every case, the cooperation of witnesses is what helps to obtain justice. That's why we've joined forces with Crime Stoppers of Greater Atlanta. If you have any information on any cases, including the cold cases you've seen right here on this program, then please contact Crime Stoppers. If your information leads to an arrest and conviction, you can be eligible for thousands of dollars, and you can be anonymous. You can also contact the District Attorney's Office at atlantada.org. Well, that wraps up this edition of Fulton Cold Case. I'm Kenya Johnson. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.